Here's the question. When did we stop being happy and joyful when we were kids? Life gets in the way. It can be tough. It can be tricky. Mortgage payments, car payments, bills, energy crisis, stock market falling. Lots and lots of distractions out there. Time burdens, childcare, kids off sick, car needs repaired, so on and so on and so on. It's easy to get caught up in that cycle of life. I had a different episode planned for today, but we had lunch before I came over. A conversation with my wife, and at lunch, and she said it's amazing how it really is just amazing how kids are. They just adapt to situations. There was a 9-year-old kid that was at a funeral, really, really sad situation. His sister had died, and he took a chord at the funeral and was just an outstanding brother, an outstanding human being as a young kid being able to do that. And my wife was in awe of this kid stepping up to the mark. And we were talking about it, and I was thinking, when did we lose? When did we let go? Because lose isn't the right word. When did we let go of the magic that's within us? When did we unplug it? When did we unplug that ability to have joy and happiness like we did when we were a kid? When we were kids running around and we were just caught up in the moment. When did we let it go? And one of the things that comes up in Mount Mindset is, what's it all about? Why push? Why succeed? Why push for discipline? Why go for financial goals and dreams? Why sort of push yourself physically? And why take any tasks that you've got in your life? Why go for them? What's the purpose? And a lot of the things that we come to is, maybe fulfillment. So maybe we're doing something to improve our situation, to improve our family. Maybe we're helping someone that feels fulfilling. Maybe we're serving others. We're doing good for someone that needs help. That's deeply fulfilling. Maybe we are looking to provide, so we pursue the goals and dreams that will get us financially free so that we can provide a great life for our family. Maybe you always had a dream and you wanted to pursue it. Maybe you had a goal of taking part in an event or climbing a mountain or doing something physically that tested you. Maybe you had a dream about doing it and maybe you're just getting round to revisiting that dream. Right? But all of these things you're looking for, all these things that the reason that you do it is that you're seeking something. Because if there wasn't that urge, you're looking to have that experience, and that experience is the freedom and the joy and the happiness or the satisfaction of doing something really good. And if you see anyone that's upset or depressed or down, and I've helped a lot of people over the years that have been there, and they don't come to me for the soft sort of, hey, it's going to be okay and you're going to be fine. They're usually looking for the truth. They're looking for the cold hard truth, because it's the sharp edge that they need. It's that shock that someone will tell them straight what's going on. And sometimes the harsh truth is better than the easy lie. And when you get that harsh truth, it sets you free. And this is what we try to do, is when you look at someone that is down and depressed or tired of life, they have common traits. They feel disconnected, right? They don't know why they're doing things. They don't know who they can talk to. They don't know what they should do. And they feel stuck. And if we compare that to how we opened this up, what are kids like? They're joyful, they're happy, they're present. They live in the moment, the here and the now. And they have fantastic imaginations. And they tell stories and sing songs and they dance. And they have wonder and amazement at this world. I wonder how we get from the adult that's completely disconnected, who once upon a time was a kid. And we're talking about the DJ called Suat. Suat is a young dude that has a mobile DJing set and lots of speakers on it, and he's quite humorous because he wears these headbands. He's got red hair. He's got huge quads and big calves. He must do, because he's got strong legs for carrying all this equipment around, and he's notorious for running around in shopping centres and getting chased out by security because he's got these mobile decks where he's playing all these tracks. And he's done things like skydiving with the DJ equipment and canoeing down a canal, DJing in Amsterdam, going down a canal in one of the boats, and just having fun and bonkers fun. And you look at that and you go, how did you end up coming up with this idea? Because don't you have a mortgage payment? Don't you have a house payment? Don't you have a car payment? The seriousness of life should stop you from doing this. And he's broke free. And when he goes out and does these things, he's entertaining, he's putting in the time and effort. It's fun. And when you see the things he does, he goes and sees people, and you see the interactions that he has with the people that are in the surroundings. So it could be shoppers, it could be people that are paddleboarding, there could be boats, there could be other skydivers, and they're like, what is going on? Because they're hearing the sounds and they're seeing this crazy dude with a mobile DJ set doing these bonkers sort of videos. But one of the things that we spoke about, because he actually was in Glasgow, I'd have loved to have went along if I knew he was there, because I'm a big fan of what he's doing. He's having fun, but he's spreading joy. And one of the things that we'd seen there that we were talking about at lunch was, you notice the adults that are there and they hear the music, and you see them in the camera shot, and they tend to shy away. They tend to pretend like he's not there or that they can't hear him. Not all of them, but some of them. And you see different interactions of people at different ages, and you generally find the people that are in working adult life will tend to shy away. And then you see maybe somebody that's old, and they're having a little shimmy. The music's not to their taste. It's not their genre of music, but they know how to enjoy a good time, and they generally be the older golden year generations that are carefree. But it's the kids. When the kids hear the music, regardless of whether they're in the park or they're in the car park or they're in the shopping centre, the kids just dance. Don't see and look who's around. They don't worry if they're on the video or not. They don't worry if they're on a live stream. They don't worry about anything. They just dance because they know the power of happiness and joy, and they're carefree. If you think right back to when you were last carefree, when was it? When did you just dance like a kid? How did it feel? What did you feel like doing it? If it was years ago, how many years ago? Did you even remember? Because if you cast your mind back far enough, and you do this now, you will remember. And if you think what you thought and feel what you felt, you're going to remember that power of the joy, that just being in the moment, being like a kid. And it's one of these things that when you are asked often enough about how to become a success, or what's it like when you achieve something, or how can I achieve something, one of the biggest things that I always go back to is why? What is your goal? What is it that you would like from doing this? Because the surface level stuff's easy. The surface level is like cars and clothes and holidays and travel and houses and the flash. It's like, you're right, great, you go and do that. You have the flash, you get some nice cars and you do this sort of stuff, great. Then what? Let me tell you why. Do you know anyone or have seen anyone who has loaded? Are they all happy? No. Have you seen someone that's loaded and is completely miserable? Yeah. Right, so surely we need to factor that in, that not money isn't a cure-all, or the flash isn't a cure-all, or the success or the cars or the glitz and the glam isn't cure-all. It doesn't cure your happiness. It doesn't bring you happiness. Sure, a lack of money, I believe, is the root of all evil. Poverty is hard. Being poor is difficult. But how is it that you go and see these tribes and you have these people that are on the beaches and they just are completely and utterly fascinated with life? And it makes me think of, like, if we got it around the right way, do we really? Because they're like, hey, we go fish for, our food, we enjoy the sun, we're on this beach, and, you look in the Western world and we've got this rat race, and they are literally living like their kids, just having a great time. It makes you wonder, you go, well, why did we, surely we can have fun, right? Surely we can be joyous, should we not? And you see a lot of press that, I think to the people that I personally know that have suffered from depression and feeling down and not really sure in life. And one of the things that I always find is that when no matter how dark and how bad it is, they will remember a time when they found joy. If you can take them through that darkness to that joy, they'll remember it's a glimmer of hope. And these are the things that we need to think about. We need to get more of those, because sure, finances, investments, growth, money, success, financial freedom, amazing things to go for. Don't get me wrong, they are amazing to go out, chase down, and live your dreams. But always remember to what end. Why are you doing it? Make sure that you're happy. And one of the greatest things see if you don't have any money, one of the greatest things that you can do to change how you feel is help someone else. And it takes so little effort to go and help someone else, and you will be so deeply fulfilled by that. And what you're getting closer to is that feeling of being in the moment. When you're in the moment, you are present, and you can sense that you have done something that is highly, highly rewarding, not necessarily financially rewarding or as monetary value, but you've just done something that felt good. And that comes back to, I think, about what we do in the Western world, and I thought, well, what do we do for fun? And you see people that will climb mountains or do these Wim Hof style sort of cold water immersion or cold water swimming. That's a great one up here in Scotland, with no shortage of cold water. We don't have a shortage of that. It's always wet, and a lot of the time it's cold. Don't get me wrong, when it's beautiful, it is extremely nice. But cold water is something that we are very, very abundant in. So doing these sorts of things where you can go and get in the cold water, if you haven't done it, you cannot think about your mortgage payment when you're in 2-degree water. You will not think about your mortgage payment. Who said what? She said this about such and such. What's that person's dress like? What's on TV tonight? What should I be doing this? You forget everything. The only thing that you can do is be present right in that moment. You need to concentrate. And when you're there, there's no surprise to me that when you come out, you have a complete rush of dopamine, because you have just shut all the things before and all the things after and being right in that moment. Just like those kids when they dance or they sing a song. And my youngest son was in doing a jigsaw puzzle, and he was singing the song, Do You Know How Much I Love You? And just a kid in his element, playing with a jigsaw puzzle. I think it was Lego he was playing with. Playing with his Lego, building his Lego up, and having a sing song. And when you see like happy old people, they'll always sing. And it's this connection to, we all have a spirit, we all have a consciousness, and we all have a physical body. And we go out and chase the physical, and sometimes it can take a toll on us mentally, and we can disconnect from that spirit. And you look at kids, and what do they have? They have spirit. And what the adults say, they say, when you're the kids, being a kid's the best years of your life. Well, do you subscribe to that? Why should we not be like kids every day of our life? Sure, we do the responsible things. I mean, that's good. We can be responsible adults, but that doesn't mean we can't have joy like we did when we were kids. So we must make sure that we factor that into our plans. We must remind ourselves what it was like to be a kid. Recently, I remember laughing. I mean, I actually laughed until there was tears coming down, my face, and my head hurt from laughing as hard. And I said to the missus, I says, I don't think I've laughed like that since I was probably, 10 or 11 years old, because it felt really, really good. I remember doing one of the episodes in the podcast about the 20 habits of successful people, and I think number 11, maybe. I'll need to double check what it was, but number 11 was, make sure you have a hearty laugh every day. And tellingly, what Napoleon Hill had said in that video that was done brilliantly by After School, you should definitely check them out. Their videos are outstanding. I'm a big, big fan of the guys over there. And he done a great video detailing Napoleon Hill's 20 habits of the successful people. And even Napoleon Hill says, make sure that you maybe do this out of view of others when you go and have a hearty laugh, because they might find this activity strange. Isn't that bizarre? You're having a good hearty laugh and others might find that strange. And that comes back to what we were asking here. When did we forget? When did we forget how important it was to have that joy? When did society shape us into, hey, you shouldn't laugh? Was it in school? Was it in high school? Is it that sort of need to fit in, that you don't want to do anything that stands out? I was talking to Dale before we came on, and he mentioned about something that the class were given an option, a high school class were given the option to do either dance in front of the class for 15 seconds or do a 15,000 word essay, and 40% of the class decided to do the essay instead of dancing. That's how fearful they were of dancing in front of a crowd. How bizarre is that? Where only a few years ago, maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, if Suat with his DJ equipment was wandering by, they'd have danced on the spot, happy as Larry. And you wonder when we lost that. And you think to yourself, maybe it was high school, maybe you get to high school and you want to fit in, you don't want to stand out, you don't want to be slagged or be a target for bullies, or you just want to fit in. It's going to be easier if you fit in. Don't stand out. So you don't dance, and you lose the things that you found joy in because you shut off your instincts to the joyfulness. And then you go through high school, which is tricky because you're going through the changes of life. You're becoming, an adult. So it's not the easiest time. You're starting to figure yourself out. The development of your personality and your characteristics. Tricky time. So yeah, it's difficult not to stand out. And then you get into the work life, and then you have all these things that you need to learn, and financial and bills, and you need to bring in money, and it can be tricky. Then you learn to drive and so on. And you just think there must be a detachment at some point where we get caught up in not finding the joy. And even personally myself, I remember when I started cycling, and it took me off guard, because I went out cycling. I was absolutely terrible at it when I started. I mean, I couldn't cycle around, my friend calls his loop the block. It's about 4 miles. And I got halfway around and was just absolutely blowing my doors off. Really, really, really a big lack of fitness. And I thought, this is terrible. I thought it'd be much better than this, because I used to go out and ride my bike when I was a kid, and I was good at it. I loved being out on my bike. I loved the fresh air. I loved the wind in my face. I loved the freedom of just being on a bike and pulling a sweet wheelie and, skidding the back wheel, finding a can, sticking it in the back wheel and hearing it rasp away. Just being a boy outside in the sunshine, having a great time, riding down the side of the railway tracks, having fun. And then years later, here I am, can't cycle round the block. Lockdowns have happened, and now I'm back on a bike, and 2 miles in, I'm blown a gasket. but I persevered, because perseverance, remember, number 4 in the list from last week is resilience. So be resilient. So I stuck in and I got good on a bike. Something happened. I initially got on the bike because I wanted to get in shape. The weather was good during lockdowns and barbecues were abundant and it was great weather. So the gyms were closed, food aplenty. I was nearly ready to be put on a flight to Japan with a sumo gear and sent there to wrestle. Just as well the flights were cancelled, because you may have found me a big hit in the Japanese sumo wrestling scene. So that was how I started cycling. And when I started cycling, I initially done it to get into shape, and I wanted to get into better shape. So this is what started it, but I didn't find the love just from getting into shape because the gyms are closed. What I found the love for later on was how good it was to be out in fresh air, how good it was to be outside. What did it remind me of? It reminded me of what it was like when I was a boy. It the moving under your own steam, the freedom, the seeing all the different places, the challenge of it, the hey look, let me cycle out to this place and then buy myself a drink of juice and a bar of chocolate. The thrill of being outside. And that was probably amplified because lockdown was there. And then improving. I was getting better. I was shedding the years off. I was finding the joy. And that joy reminded me of what it was like when I was a kid. And I thought, this is what we're supposed to do. It's great to do all the success stuff. But it's also, we need to remember why. And we need to add that happiness into our plan. And you look at things like, I didn't understand why I felt so good out on the bike. And I realised I wasn't looking at emails. I was detached from the outside world. The civilization, the Western, high speed, high tempo, completely connected to the world. Woo, 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 this sort of connection that we have, whoa, which is great because it's brilliant to get things done. But to take 3 or 4 hours of just being in nature, in bliss, moving under your own steam, I was back to being a boy. And then that morphed into, what other adventures can we do? Let's get a paddleboard and paddle in the water. Sunny day, seeing kids playing in the beach or round the loch. It was like a time machine. And you could pick up that time machine any time that you liked. Even get my boys on the paddleboard, and we paddled but round a reservoir. We had a blast. A beautiful day, we had fun. It was great. And it was not only building the bond with them and having the experience with them, but it was also taking me back to what it was like when I was their age. And I think these are the things that we really must make sure that we do a lot of, or factor that into our plan to make sure that we find the magic, whatever that may be. I remember realising when I started climbing the Scottish mountains, the Munros, that it would be hard because it'd be tricky. You'd be out hiking for 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe even 7 hours. Some days you would need to have, because Scotland's just wild in terms of weather. You would have a wet kit, you would have a warmer kit, you would have less kit, gloves. You would need to pack and prepare, and when you were prepared, you would be carrying this additional weight up the mountains. It'd be tough, but you would get there and it would be absolutely bliss. You would be proud of your effort. You see this amazing scenery, and you were back out in fresh air, just like when you were a kid. And I thought, this is why. I never got it years ago. I never understood why people would want to go out and climb a mountain. I remember the famous scene in the movie Trainspotting, and it plays this scenario out. One of the guys wanted to go and get in the fresh air, and the other guys that were, real sort of, how would you describe it? The real rough end of life. And they just didn't want to connect because they were it was too far away from what they knew. And had they maybe pushed, maybe they would have seen the opportunity and leaning into that a bit more. But maybe they just weren't ready at that point in time for, that change of mindset. So that's really the question. The question is, how do we change our mindset? And it's really quite easy. You get to decide what state you're in. You get to decide your mental state. You get to decide the stories that you tell yourselves. Every day we live with the stories that we say to ourselves, whatever they might be. So I hear people say things like, I can't do that, or, it's just the way I'm made, or all that sort of stuff. And they're telling themselves a story. But I would argue, I would counter to that if you went back to when you were a kid, you had no such limitations. You've learned to tell yourself that story. And if you're ever wanting to be inspired, go and watch a kid dance or play in the park or splash water, and you will be laughing along with them, with tears streaming out your eyes, with the joy of laughter and that happiness that kids intuitively know, and that I think that we should rediscover, because we all have it inside us. That magic is inside us. We should definitely plan for it, and we should make sure that we add that in. And if you're stuck and you need a way to find that, think of, when was the last time that you danced? When was the last time that you laughed until you had tears coming down your face? When did you just be in the moment? It might be hard to start with, but close your eyes and think back to then. And when you find it, hold on to it, and then think about what you would like to do in the future. Make sure you add fun into your plan, because it will bring you joy, happiness, you'll be healthy. Mary Poppins did say that the laughter cures all, so I think she's got something in there. She also said 2 tablespoons of sugar helps the medicine go down, if I remember rightly, but laughter's the best cure. So it puts you mentally in great shape, physically in great shape, and you should definitely have that and spread the word, spill it out. If you want to see what that looks like, check out Suat's videos. You'll thoroughly enjoy them, because he's just a guy going out and doing fun things, occasionally bonkers, but you can see the joy that music and bonkersness brings, and the ones that see it the most, that is most visible in, is the kids. So I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Conversations with an Investor. Come and follow me on all my social media channels. Put up clips on all the socials. If you like short form content, just nice little snappy clips. We've got chapters for some of the other stuff that we go into in the podcast. Nice bite size and information. We've got a property course that is live now. So if you're ever want the real, no BS truth in how to become a property pro, come and check that out. We've got a mindset community. So if you like this sort of content, you want to tune up your mindset, you want to improve your life, you want to be around like-minded people who share your ideas about improving, getting the most out of this experience that we call life, come and check us out. The links will be in the show notes. From me this week, that's a wrap.